I was about to ask.
Sure.
Oh, great. So, good afternoon, everyone. Lovely to see you all over here. Yes, we cannot see everyone's faces, but we know there's a good audience out there. Thank you very much for joining into this RIA Clinic. This is a program being run by ARIA, that is Association of Registered Investment Advisors. We run this program for the aspiring RIAs so that they can get help in terms of help and guidance in terms of how to go about becoming an RIA. Should they become an RIA? Should they not? Should they even make an attempt to do that? All of those kind of questions will be answered over here. Along with me, I have a team who is actively managing this whole RIA clinic initiative. I've just come here to show my face. The hard work is being done by this whole team. Tejas is the volunteer lead over there. Colin, I don't see everyone on the screen over here. I'm assuming they're on screen and it's only my view, which is not.
Yes, we're all here.
Right? Yeah. So Tejas is the volunteer lead. He's a RIA and co-founder of Northward. That's his company. We have Abu Bakr over here. He's another one volunteering for this particular committee, and he's an RIA from Chennai. And we have our evergreen Mr. Sanjay Kadal, who is a big help for us in all things related to regulation. He's senior partner in assurance and consulting. All the three of them are here today to take your questions, give you step-by-step guidance. Before I move ahead, I have to thank our sponsor partners. They are the ones because of whom we are able to continue these activities. Everything needs some kind of resources, and all of these partners have come forward. That's HDFC Mutual Fund, ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund, Kotak Mutual Fund, Mirae Asset Mutual Fund, S&P Dow Jones Indices, SBI Mutual Fund, and UTI Mutual Fund. All of them are our platinum partners, and thank you to all of them for supporting our initiatives. The agenda for this particular clinic workshop or this session is to be able to give you an overview of all of these issues which are related to RIA practice. How do you manage the transition? If you are a distributor, you are an MFT, and how do you move on to that? What are the legal issues? What is it? How do you safeguard your income? What are the kind of business models that you can pursue or are being pursued? What are the kind of legal structures of, can you be an individual or a proprietary or LLP or body corporate? What should be the education, experience, certification? What is client level segregation? How do you invoice your clients? Where do you get the resources to be able to run this kind of a practice? So that's an overall agenda, and we have created a presentation which the presenters after me will be taking it up. But beyond that, in the Q&A session, please go ahead and ask your questions, the questions which bother you. So you don't have to stick to the agenda. A little about ARIA. We are an association of registered investment advisors. This is a Section 8 not-for-profit company. The company was formed in 2019 with 6 founder directors. I was also one of the founder directors, and there were 5 others: Harsh Rungta, Lovai, Vivek, Vishal Dhawan, and I'm forgetting one more name, Rajendra Kalur. So these were the founder directors, and currently we have 283 members. We'll stick to the previous one. We have 283 members, and the members are coming from places like small places like Bhuj, and of course the metros like Mumbai. We are all over the country in 33 cities. The association is being run by elected board of members and the volunteers. Everyone is a volunteer, including the board of directors. But the board of directors are elected ones. Volunteers are the nominated or nominated volunteers, and they also in future they move on to the board. We have about 20 plus volunteers. Current number is almost close to 30. RIA members are mix of individual, corporate, equity only advisors, financial planner only advisors, financial planner plus investment manager. So various models are working right now. Colin, I'm not, now I could move it. So this is the current board of directors over here. You can, it's me, I'm chairing this year. Amit is the vice chair, Kavita is treasurer, then Bihari Lal, Harsh, Lovai, Sharon, Tarun, and Vivek. These are the ARIA volunteers. Unfortunately, we don't have pictures for all of them, but these are the ones we have pictures of few of those out here. All of them are contributing all the while and making all these events possible for us. See, this list, yes, we have just put it down, the chief economic advisor to the government of India, whole-time member, SEBI, chairperson, SEBI's chairperson, Mr. Kamath, he doesn't need any introduction, Dr. Kiran Bedi, and many more such dignitaries who have been associated with our cause in a way that they came out, they supported us, they have come to our events. And why are we bringing these names? Because this gives you a sense of what is the kind of support or what I would say is moral support that we have from the system. See, RIA is the only fiduciary advisor in the industry today, in Indian industry, and that puts RIAs in a very special place. Now, having said that, it's also a difficult model to pursue, and that's the reason we are running these clinics, and it's not everyone is becoming an RIA. The purpose behind showing all these names and other names is that to be able to give you a little bit of a glimpse of that how the system or the big wigs of the industry believe that this is the model to be pursued for future and for the welfare of investors and even for the welfare of advisory community. We have lots of RIA success stories. Vineet Iyer, Mukul Agarwal, Manikaran Singhal, Ratnashri, Jigar, Iqbal. There are many more stories. These are the ones which will be available to you for, Colin, we will be putting this on YouTube, right?
Yeah, these are there already on YouTube.
Yes, so these you can go click on those links over there and see how they have developed their story practices and have reached at whatever level they are today. These are examples that if someone else can do it, you can also do it, and that's how we are presenting them. And lastly, why should you go through the effort? Why should you become an RIA? What I have put over here are just a few things which are very concrete and you can see it. That means there's a difference between the existing players or existing intermediaries in the market and RIA. RIA is the fiduciary, like I said. So you, as a matter of fact, what happens is, you have a marketplace and you have investor, and then you have intermediaries in the middle who help the marketplace reach out to the investor and investor to reach out to the marketplace. Now, this intermediary can be on the sell side or buy side. RIA is the only intermediary which is on the buy side of the industry. That puts you in a very, very special position. It brings you, it's what you call a blue ocean strategy. Very few in the country right now. We have 900 license holders currently, and out of those 900 also, very few holistic ones. What I mean to say, in a country of 1.4 billion people, if you have only 900 service providers which are being sought after everywhere, I mean, everyone's talking about financial planning, everyone is talking about fiduciary. But where are they in the market? So you have a unique position. If as an RIA, you will have a unique position of being able to follow a blue ocean strategy and get the clients while still being at home. I mean, still doing your regular practice and business. So this is a solution or a consulting approach rather than a sales approach, and that changes your side. Like I said, you move to the buy side rather than the sell side. How do you earn? Your earning capability is then not dependent on how many number of sales that you make or how much does the manufacturer or the AMC decides to give you for a certain product. But now the capability is in your hand, how you develop yourself. You get smarter, you make more money. You figure out more ways to benefit your clients, you make more money. We have constantly been working with the regulator so as to promote a holistic practice. So even when the products are not, products and services are not covered by SEBI, they can also form part of your booking, even if they're not covered by SEBI. And that's something which we could recently get it done in the regulation, although it was being done earlier as well. But now it's being spelled out in the regulation as well. What does that mean for a practitioner? A practitioner can develop himself or herself in the direction that he or she wants, create that specialization, and then earn around his or her own capability. Very few other professions offer you that kind of opportunity. So if you look at it, where IT was in 80s and 90s, and people who joined in just by sheer chance of being in IT in 80s and 90s reached somewhere. You see Chandra of Tata Sons chairman. He moved into a sunshine industry, did a great job, and now he's chairing one of the biggest behemoth of the country. What I'm trying to tell you is when you get into a sunshine industry at a growth phase, your own personal growth will be very different. So don't wait too long, get going while the regulator is supporting and the environment is supporting. There will be few hitches here and there because it's a sunshine industry. Also is a teething, will also have some bit of a teething problem. But then you have an association like ARIA, which can help you at any point in time where you are stuck. I know if you'll reach out to Colin, she'll tell you how many individual cases also we get help solved sometimes when the application is stuck. This whole team is working together to help RIAs get licensed. What I'm trying to say is sky's the limit if you enter into this field. So don't wait for long. Most of the things are in place and you can all just take the plunge and go ahead. So, there is transparency in practice, which puts you in a very different league altogether within the intermediary landscape. Fiduciary with no conflict of interest is what we have been talking about. Access to account aggregator framework as an RIA, you get access to that where you can get the data, etc., which facilitates your holistic kind of practice even more. And one of the biggest things that I love about our industry or our practices, it's the futuristic practice, which is AI resistant. We will not use the word AI proof because none of us know what happens in future. But it is definitely an AI resistant field where we use, as a matter of fact, we are all talking about that earlier in 5 years back or 7 years back, people used to talk about, okay, an individual became a very good practitioner, established a wonderful practice. Then what? How can he scale up? How many more clients can he service? How much more can he earn? With AI, an individual's earning capability will go up dramatically. And that's what I love about, one more thing for me to love about our profession is it's AI resistant. People will always need people. We're talking about robots, this, that, whatnot for advisory as well. We are all talking about chat GPT and AI generated plans, etc. But at the end of the day, people will need people to be able to communicate to them and be able to help them out. You look at one more aspect, and that's a very good statistical aspect for people of this generation to get into RIA. See, who has got the maximum money right now? Maximum investable money as well. It's usually the 40 plus year old generation. That 40 plus generation will not trust a robot right now to go and get the advice. It's usually the youngsters and the smaller clients who will go get started with something, and then they will be stuck and they need help of a human being whom they trust will be working on their side. So, friends, I can keep going on and on because this is not only my um, favorite topic to talk about, but also one of my, I'm very, very passionate about it. So I can keep talking, but I will leave you all to the team to be able to explain and talk about all the other technical things. And you can come back, ask questions. But I would say do not postpone this. Do not postpone your decision to take up the license. Get in now, start working towards it. It will take you for probably a couple of years to have that established running practice. If you are an MFT, your ARN income will be protected. There are some technical glitches here and there which are getting sorted right now, but that's something which in principle the regulator has agreed, the law has agreed that as an MFT, whatever is your current distribution income coming in, the ARN income will be protected, and then you can do your RIA practice as well. So I'll hand it over to Tejas now, and Tejas, please go ahead and let's see how many converts do we have after the day. So all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Renu, for the introduction of ARIA as a body and also, throwing light on, RIA as a profession, the benefits. I'm not going to add to that. I think Renu's spoken enough for about 15, 20 minutes. So there are enough benefits. There are challenges like any other business. But I'll stop there. I'll move on to the legal framework. So just before I get started, so you may be an existing MFD. We don't know our audience, because I can't see you all. So just for the, for our benefit to gauge the audience, can you just drop in a line in terms of whether you are an existing MFD, you're an insurance consultant, or you're an aspiring RIA, whatever it may be. Just drop in a line in the chat box so we get a feel in terms of. Hello.
Yeah, they are posting. It's very good.
Okay.
So many aspiring RIAs.
Okay. For some reason, I can't see the chat box. I'm not sure. I'm audible, right, Colin?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So, Colin, I'm not able to see the chat box, sir. It's just, is there some setting issue?
I think let me just click on it and then see it.
Yeah.
Notification is not coming for something. You're able to see after clicking on it? Just click
No.
on the chat box.
No, I don't even have that option. It's not showing up for me for some reason. Let's see.
Yeah, you can start now. I think they are done.
Okay. Fine. Okay. So, Abu, sorry, I'm having a technical problem. Can you just, what are the answers like on the chat box?
There are so many aspiring RIAs and
Okay.
again, the equal number of MFDs. And some people applied for RIA license also. And there are some CA, CFAs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So, I'm just going to start off with the first slide. So, what here I'm going to try and cover is just to give you a synopsis is legal structure, qualification, certification, what can be done, what cannot be done as an individual and a non-individual. So before I get started, I'll move on with the first slide, which is the legal structure. So if you look to your left, which is the individual category, you have two options there, which is the individual and the sole proprietorship. And on the right is the non-individual format, which is partnership firm or a body corporate, which is your private limited, or the LLP format. So as an aspiring RIA, it's up to you in terms of which model you want to pick, which format you want to pick. So it could be individual, it could be non-individual. Now there are certain limitations. I wouldn't say pros and cons, but whatever. I mean, there are certain limitations to each format, which I will address later. So again, just to recap, on the left, individual, sole proprietorship. On the right, you have the partnership, private limited, and then the LLP format. Colleen, can you just help me move to the next slide? Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so now these are the differences listed down between individual RIA and non-individual. So as you can see, the number of clients that you can have in an individual RIA, there's a restriction there. So like I was telling you in the earlier slide, there is a limitation. Individual RIA, you have a limit of 300 clients. But this has just recently been increased. Prior to Jan 2025, it used to be 150. They have now doubled the count. So, SEBI is listening to us as practitioners, taking feedback, and they've been kind enough to increase that limit to 150 to 300. In non-individual, of course, there's no limit. So to that extent, there's no restrictions there. You're free to service any number of clients. Earlier, so again, so a lot of changes have come in post Jan 2025. I mean, of course, there have been changes throughout since the RIA regulations have come, that is since 2013. But a lot of major changes have come in the last 7-8 months or so. So post Jan 2025, the net worth requirement, which was there earlier, it used to be for an individual RIA, the net worth requirement used to be 5 lakhs. And in the case of non-individual, it used to be 50 lakhs. So this had to be, maintained as a deposit, or it could be, an aggregate of all your assets, which could be office, furniture, computers, FDs, and so on and so forth. But like I said, the good news is that's been scrapped. And I think that was a huge entry barrier for a lot of aspiring RIAs. And what they have done in turn is moved to something called a deposit system. And this is a deposit that is supposed to be linked to BSE, BSE being in Bombay Stock Exchange. And so how it works is it's kind of a slab system. It's up to 150 clients. You need to make a deposit of 1 lakh. 151 to 300 is 2 lakhs. 301 to 1,000 is 5 lakhs, so on and so forth. So as you can see, the details there, quite self-explanatory. So 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 5 lakh, and 10 lakhs. And then, these are based on the number of clients that you service. So net worth scrapped. The replacement for that is the deposit system. Now, when we say distribution here, we're talking about now, are you allowed to? So RIA is basically a fee-only practice where you charge a fee to the client. Now, there is also the distribution, so some of you who are existing MFDs obviously have a distribution system in place. And in an individual RIA, unfortunately, the regulation says that you cannot do both, which means you cannot offer mutual funds on a commission basis, and you are restricted only to the direct plans. And of course, you can, so there's absolutely no income from commission. It is only fee based. Whereas in a non-individual, you can do distribution as well, but with a SIDD, as it's called, separately identifiable department division. And there is a strict client level segregation in place. So which means, if you have, let's say, 5 clients in advisory, 5 clients in distribution, you need to ensure that there's a clear demarcation between, the reporting, your data maintained, your mail-in system. So there has to be a wall in between both the departments. But I think the good thing is you can do both. So not necessary that you may have everybody who's a fee-paying client, but having said that, as an RIA, as a non-individual RIA, SEBI said that's up to you to figure out whether a client is a fee-paying or not, and you can maintain 2 divisions. So it allows some kind of diversification in business model, or it could be that the client maybe initially is not comfortable paying a fee as such, but it's somebody who probably you can groom and funnel into an advisory client at some point later. And also it gives you the flexibility and the freedom to not say no to anybody, right? So you can admit them. I mean, of course, as long as they fit your client criteria, then it's all good. So that's on the distribution bit. So not allowed in individual RIA, non-individual, you can offer both. The next one is the principal officer. So there's a principal officer as it's called, and then there's a compliance officer as it's called. So in the case of individual RIA, you don't need to have a principal officer and a compliance officer because it's one person running the show. And in a non-individual format, it is mandatory to have a principal officer. That could be, another partner of yours, or you need to identify somebody. In the case of compliance officer, you do have an option to appoint an independent professional. So it could be a company secretary or so, provided they also kind of qualify and pass the, necessary examination. But they can be appointed as an independent professional as a compliance officer. So yeah, so that's just to recap on this slide again: number of clients, the deposit system, distribution, yes, no, no for individual RIA, yes for non-individual RIA, and then the principal officer, which is not required for individual RIA, but mandatory for a non-individual, and then the compliance officer, not applicable again for individual, but mandatory for a non-individual. And you also have the option of appointing an independent professional as the compliance officer. Next. So qualification requirement, again, a few changes here. Earlier you had to be, prior to Jan 2025, you had to be a postgraduate. There were certain requirements like that, even work experience, which I will come to later. But for an individual IA and principal officer, so there are, you have 3 options. One is you need to be a graduate. Earlier it used to be a graduate plus postgraduate. But right now, if you are a graduate in any of the streams, which is mentioned below, I'm not reading out all of them, but for example, finance, accounts, management, commerce. So if anywhere in the finance field, then you're good to apply. The other option is NISM has got a PG program in the securities market. Now, it is if I'm not mistaken, it's a 15-month program. If you just Google it, look it up, you will find details on the program. A 15-month program which focuses on investment and advisory, portfolio management, research. So you can, I think you can get the details a lot more on the website. Just look it up on Google and you'll get the details. And then option 3, of course, is the CFA charter from the CFA Institute. So these are the 3 options you have. Now, what has been taken off is the postgraduate, which again was a bit of a entry barrier, and that's been taken off. So you can, if you qualify on any of these 3 options, I think you're more than welcome to apply. Now, there's something called a person associated with investment advice. So for example, if I'm running a firm, I can probably hire somebody as known as a PIA. And I think if some of you are distributors here on the call, on the webinar, I think, like how you would be a sub-broker with an NJ model. Likewise, that's the parallel world. And it's just that it's got a different name and it's called PIA. But you need to be a minimum graduate in any discipline as, mentioned earlier, and it has to be in finance. So PAIA is person associated with investment advice. Yeah, so that's about it. So on the left, individual IAPO, and then on the right is the PAIA, and like I said, the three options as mentioned there on the slide. Yes, next. Yeah, so for the individual PIA, along with the MBA, there was a minimum 5 years of experience required in the relevant space. That too was quite a roadblock. That's been taken off, and the idea of scrapping this off is to give you some kind of perspective in terms of how it was earlier, then versus now. So I think there's more reasons for you to, if you are really an aspiring RIA or you're existing MFD, I think you have enough more reasons to cheer and go ahead with your application. So for the individual IAPO, the minimum was 5 years. That's scrapped. On the right, if you see, there's a PIA, which was minimum again 2 years. That's also been taken off. So long story short, you don't need experience. But of course, experience can always help you, judge a client better or do your job better. But from a regulation perspective, that's been relaxed. So that's good news. Next. Yeah, so there is something called a certification requirement. Like you have an IRD exam, like you have a AMFI exam, which you need to give 5A, if I'm not, yeah, 5A. There is also a series of examination that you need to give to certify yourself, which is called the 10A and 10B series. Now, these are, I would say it's a combination of analytical theory, multiple choice questions. If you've done your CFP, if you've done, financial planning and stuff like that, it's a combination of things. So there's some bit of theory, there's some bit of portfolio analysis, there's some bit of retirement planning, there's some bit of FV, PV, those kind of formulas. And is it tough? Yeah, maybe to a certain extent. It's not as easy as a lot of the other exams, but I think all it takes is about 1 or 2 weeks of preparation. And if you're somebody who's worked on plans or done, if you're comfortable with Excel, there are a lot of these support. What do you call that? Question banks and stuff which you get online. Just go through some of those. Do maybe a week or two of preparation, and I think you should be through. So that's 10A, 10B. And this, I think the validity is for about 3 years. Earlier, what you had to do is you had to give this every 3 years. So which means you had to go back, do the 10A, 10B every 3 years. And, sometimes it can get a bit overwhelming to do examination every 3 years. And with age, you don't function the same way you did. So thankfully, they have introduced one more, which is the 10C. So you don't need to do the 10A, 10B again now. So you just need to do something called a 10C. That's the third part of it. And the renewal is required through 10C, which is again, very fairly straightforward. You just see a couple of videos and, if you've done 10A, 10B, then 10C will be a breeze. So there's I think about a half an hour to 1 hour video. Honestly, I've not done it yet because, my 10A, 10B is yet to expire. But from what I hear, it's quite a breeze. Again, of course, with some bit of preparation for about 3 to 4 days or a week. Yeah, so that's on the certification 10A, 10B, 10C. And then we talked about the education as well. Yeah, next. So as you can see, there is a licensing fee that is there. So on your left, if you see the individual RIA, proprietorship, partnership firm, these are, if you see, there's a SEBI application fee, there's a SEBI registration, and then there's a BSE enlistment admin fee. So that's about 2K, 3K, 10K. Okay, I'm not going to read out the numbers. It's all there. And then for non-individual as well, you have the fees on the right, which is 10, 15, and then 5. And then you have the renewal fee. So the renewal is for about 5 years. Now, how do you go about applying? Who do you approach? Where can you get support? All that, Abu will be covering in the subsequent slides. But this is just to give you a perspective on the cost associated with it. So yeah. Okay, so now moving on to the next slide, which is the client level segregation. So I don't know if you recollect, we talked about a client level segregation being, now if I'm running a non-individual RIA, I do have clients who are probably on the distribution side where I earn commission, and then there are clients also who I earn advisory fees. Now, as covered earlier, in case of an individual IA, you cannot provide distribution service. That's not allowed by regulations. So at a family level, the client shall be either a IA client or a distribution client. So just to bring in some context, so if you're my client, I cannot be earning commission from you and also charging a fee on you. So there is something called a legacy income, which we'll come to later. I'll get into that later. But otherwise, I either earn fees or I either earn commission. I cannot do both, right? And the definition of a family is individual IA, spouse, children, and parents. In case of a non-individual IA, at the cost of repetition, I think we discussed this earlier, but we can provide distribution services again with a one arm's length. And as I think the same rule applies here as the individual IA at its group level, the client shall either be an IA client or a distribution client and not both. I think they're quite loud about it. So that's regulation. Yeah, so stockbroking activity is not considered as distribution activity. That's just FYI. So this is on the client level segregation. Next. So now coming to advisory, how can you bill your advisory clients? So there are two modes. As you can see on the left, I can charge up to 1,51,000 per annum. This used to be 1,25,000 prior to Jan 2025. Now it's been increased to 1,51,000 now. And then there is on the right, if you see assets under advice model, which is up to 2.5% per annum. So up to 2.5% per annum. And that's the framework that we all should work within. And that's the limit SEBI has prescribed. So if you are a fixed fee planner, for example, and in ARIA, the community is probably not so big, but in spite of that, we have various business models because there's no right or wrong. So it depends on what your service is, what your value add is, and where you think your ideal clientele is. So for a lot of folks, the fixed fee works beautifully, and they can charge up to 1,51,000. So I could do a financial plan for you as a fixed fee planner and charge you anywhere between, I think the standard is about 15, 20, 25,000 upwards, and it can go up to 1,51,000. Or I could also manage your portfolio and just charge you 1,51,000. But that's a choice I'm making as an advisor, and that's a choice the client makes also along with the advisor. Okay, so that's open to interpretation depending on your comfort factor, etc., etc. So there's a lot of factors to it. So that's the fixed fee mode. Then there is the assets under advice. So a lot of folks also follow the assets under advice model. So to put it straightforward, if I'm managing, let's say, 1 crore of your assets, then I charge a percentage on it. Now, SEBI says up to 2.5%. It's up to you in terms of what is fair value. Of course, 2.5% might be on the higher side, but that's just an opinion. You are free to charge what you want. But typically, I think everybody charges anywhere between 1 to 1.5% or downwards. So that's another model. So there are, I'm not getting into the pros and cons of each of it because, like I said, it's a very individual choice, comfort factor, what you think fits for the client and who your client is, whether they're ready to pay, whether they're not ready to pay. So there's a lot of factors there. So I'm not going to go down that road now, but I think as a framework, what you should be understanding is these are the two models that are available. Fixed fee, 1,51,000 per annum. Assets under advice is up to 2.5%. So as long as you work within this framework, find your clients, deliver true value, I think you're sorted. In case of individual HUF client, the fee limit applies per family for all services of IA. So it could be, like we covered earlier, it could be husband, wife, so that kind of a, what do you say, family setup. In the case of non-individual client, now they have lifted the cap. There is no cap. So, the 1,51,000 and the 2.5% does not apply for non-individual clients and something called as a accredited investor. Now, if you look up what is who is an accredited investor is, there's a certain network, there's a certain paperwork. If you look it up at SEBI website itself, you will see in terms of the criterias in terms of how one can be registered as an accredited investor. I think the broader point here is that the fee limits do not apply for these two categories. Also, the other thing is the fee mode could be changed only once a year. So, again, to give you some context, if I had onboarded you as a client in April 2025, I could only switch you from, let's say, if I wanted to move you from fixed fee to assets under advice, I was I was permitted to do this only once a year, and I had to wait for the next financial year to kind of make any changes if required. However, that's been relaxed. So after a quarter, if I kind of realize that or that you maybe I want to move you as a client to assets under advice or vice versa, I'm eligible. I'm permitted to do that now, and it can be done anytime during the year. Of course, with the consent of the client, and you'll have to get a sign off from the client as well. And yeah, and not to say the fee limits apply only for the investment advice related to securities under purview of SEBI. So, the other products, you'll have to figure it out. The SEBI now is only talking about SEBI regulated products like your mutual funds, PMS, AIF, and so on and so forth. Yeah, next. So I think so this is a question, I lost the chat box, but I did see a question in terms of we are a MFD. How do we kind of transition? So this slide is particularly in, with regard to, your case, or I'm sure there's many other. So non-individual entities are allowed distribution activities, as mentioned once or twice, that you have a client level segregation. You can go ahead. Now the catch here is now I'm trying to draw examples here. So if I was a client of your firm, and if I have been on regular plans wherein you as an advisor have been earning distribution income all along, and let's say in August I decide, listen, I want to become an advisory client. I don't want to be paying you commissions, and I want to move on to a direct plan model where I pay you a fee. You will still, as a MFD, you will still get your prior investment trail until that date. So let's say August 1st is when I decide to sign up as an advisory client. Until July 31st, your trail income will still continue. So which means you're not going to lose out on, all the, and possibly, I could have been a client with you for the last 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. So just because you move me to an advisory model, that doesn't mean that you lose out on all the hard work that you've done for the last 5 years or 10 years. I'm just drawing examples here. So you stand to gain that, and at the same time you get to start on a clean slate, and you start on that advisory relationship, and like I said, you also earn the prior investment trail that comes through. So this, in a way, it's an incremental approach. It kind of gives the advisor and the client also, some kind of breathing space to understand and to transition and stuff. So yeah, so existing MFDs, I think this is probably something that you can use if you do think that you can open, another vertical, add another layer of service in advisory clients. Next. Yeah, so these are business models which we've listed down. Again, there is no right or wrong here. You are free to choose which model works for you perfectly fine. So There are some who are in the wealth management space. And when I say I mean, these are all just words or, coined terms. You could choose wealth management, you could choose financial planning. On the left, if you see the practice, and on the right, the focus. Now, uh, like I said, there's no right or wrong. I think it depends on the client. What do they need? What is it that they require? Now, for some clients, it could be wealth management, as it's popularly called. It could be just growth of wealth. So you could be offering me a basket of products, which could be PMS, AIF, mutual funds, shares, and my only focus is to um, run at a certain XARR. Now, having said that, all the practice you see on the left, which is wealth management, equity advisory, financial planning, so on and so forth. Of course, the underlying factor is, how much return will I get? I mean, we all know that. But I think as a practice, we need to focus where our focus is on. So wealth management could be, like I said, offering a bunch of products, from PMS to structured products and stuff. And then, here the conversations are more about, we've been running quarter on quarter on X amount, absolute return, CAGR, XARR, and that's what the client requires. So be it. It's absolutely fine. Likewise, you could be running an equity advisory where maybe you're doing only direct equity stocks, which is again a concentrated bet or a diversified bet, but you could be um, a really good subject matter expert in terms of picking stocks and offering value to your clients in that way. Or it could be you're doing financial planning, and that's your hook to the client. Where the conversations revolve more around goals, goal setting, cash flows, expenses, income, estate planning, insurance. So, right now I'm just rattling out whatever comes to my mind. But so you're doing a comprehensive financial plan where your discussions are now not only revolved around how much am I going to give you as an advisor, how much can you expect as a return. You're doing risk profiling. I mean, I suppose risk profiling is common across the board, but I'm just saying in terms of it's a little more detailed conversations, go towards, goals like retirement. It could be kids education. Can I retire early? Can I build a house? Should I buy a house or should I rent? These are the kind of questions that go. And of course, the after effect of this discussion is the execution of the plan, which could be, if I look as a standard template in terms of products, it could be a term plan, it could be health insurance, it could be setting up a mutual fund portfolio or offering PMS. So, there's a lot of common factors among all these practices, but it's also your area of focus. Um, Likewise, if you see below financial planning, there's something called financial life planning now. It's a more deeper version of financial planning. If I'm not mistaken, I think there are a lot of life planners in India. Of course, not too many, but there are a lot here in India, but more commonly in the West, in the US. And conversations are, beyond money. It's about relationship with money. It's about aspirations. What do you want to do with your money? So a lot of emotional kind of conversations, I would say. Difficult to explain, but a lot of intangibles is what is covered here. Of course, with the whole set of cash flow management and all of that. I mean, there are common conversations which overlaps with financial planning and financial life planning, but it's a lot more deeper. Is where I would end it. And then there is, of course, the family office, um, which involves all the other, all the other, what do you say, practice management. So it could be taxes, it could be estate planning, it could be bookkeeping. Now I'm looking at you as a client. I'm looking at you as, everything. I need everything. It's a one-stop shop. I'm coming to you for everything, and you need to help me on possibly 15, 20 different things. And these typically the target clientele is, ultra HNIs. Those are the kind of target audience and a certain net worth. So, like I said, it's um, for us as practitioners. I think it's up to us where we want to fit ourselves. I might be biased, so I personally do financial planning, which is the third one. Now, that's where I feel I provide more value to the clients. But but there are a lot of folks, a lot of other practitioners who I know who do wealth management along with financial planning. So it could be a combo of everything. So pick your space, pick your niche, identify your clients. I think there's a lot of them out there who needs our services. Now, whether they need an equity advisory, whether they need wealth management, financial planning, I think that's secondary. I think you need to identify your space and then offer your value to the client. So yeah, I think that's about it. I hope I've covered enough on the practice management. Yeah, next. So there is a what do you say, there is a profit matrix that is, and this is when I say established RIAs, these are mainly in the US. We're talking about established. I mean, of course we do have established RIAs here in India as well. There's a lot of senior folks who are part of the ARIA community as well. But if you look globally in terms of if you're running an RIA practice, I think these are just indicative numbers in terms of which you should be factoring in, which is your employee costs, which is about 40%. Again, these are indicative numbers. Okay, so you can just take this as a as a as a template or so while you're running your practice. So 40% is the employee costs. Then there is the office technology, others, which could be subscribing to CRM, software, execution, DSE, compliance. It could be a Zoho, whatever. I mean, accounting, all of that. So that should be about 35%. So all in all, what we're saying is an employee cost includes you. If you're a founder, if you're running a firm, then it includes your costs as well, not just the employee cost. So we are looking at least this is the the global best practice is to be somewhere at a 25 to 30% kind of a margin. 30% might be wishful thinking, but I'm saying about 25% is a decent kind of profit margin. And I think we should also remind ourselves while we all love what we are doing, whether we are in insurance, whether we are an MFD, whether I'm an RIA or I'm switching professions. I speak a lot to a lot of aspiring RIAs, and the calls I get, there are a lot of folks who are looking to switch professions from the IT field into this because they find this exciting, and some of them have really gained a lot of knowledge in terms of finance and all that. I think it's we also should remind ourselves that we are not, I wouldn't say charity, but we need to be profitable. We need to be motivated. While we are doing this business, sometimes we become so passionate about it that we kind of overlook the fact that are we being profitable? Is it worth running for business? So that's the kind of metrics to give you an indication, and also it should be there at the back of your head that while we are doing this, of course, in a very ethical way, we should also be profitable. I think that comes to the end of where I've covered. I hope I've been able to give you, certain insights on the 10 slides so far. Sanjay will take questions toward the end. I'm going to hand over to Abu, who's going to now, take over from the next slide, which is your the process of application and stuff like that. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Tejas. So now I am going to briefly take you through the formalities if you want to become an RIA, individual or non-individual RIA or part-time RIA, whatever that thing. So first you should check the eligibility criteria. It's already been covered in the previous slide. Even if you missed out to take note of it, don't worry. All the required information will be shared. There are a lot of support system available, and the FAQ also will be going to happen after these couple of slides. Don't hesitate. Ask all the questions. So first you check your eligibility criteria to become an RIA, SEBI RIA, and then you should deposit some amount based on the number of clients. It's already been mentioned. It's as low as 1 lakh. So up to that you would have seen it, right? So individual or non-individual, it depends on a maximum number of client what you will be handling in that particular financial year or any given point in time. So it goes from 1 lakh to 10 lakhs. So you are starting as an individual, non-individual, you will be starting with 1 lakh, right? So then what next? You have the eligibility to apply, and you have secured the money to deposit as part of the RIA license. Then you want to approach the BSE. This is the Investment Advice Administration and supervisory body through which only you have to apply for the SEBI RIA license. They are the frontline administration and supervisory body. Anything and everything we need to go through that BSE IAASB only. There is a portal where which you can apply, log in, apply through the IASB. So then upon applying and everything, and they will go through the application documents, and then they will send you a link, email to pay the required fees. I think you have taken note of the fees, and fees is not much. Individual or non-individual, it's only few thousands only. Upon payment of application fees and registration fees to SEBI and BSE, both the link to the payment will be sent by the BSE only. So once you make, when everything, all the things are right, and when you have applied and all these supportive documents are ready and it's been vetted, and upon paying the fees, you will be provided by the certificate of membership. So you will be receiving the SEBI RIA license, and BSE also will give you a number. So next. Yeah. So what are all the documents you should have? Checklist. This is a kind of checklist. Before applying, you can have all the things. So obviously you should have a PAN. So almost most of you know, being through this KYC, know your customer documents and all the formalities. Even you be a customer to any financial institutions, maybe more or less the same set of requirements only. Since you are applying here, you need to, since you are applying for the IA license, so you need the PAN card first, identity proof, address proof, Aadhaar and all the stuff. And you should have the qualification proofs. So maybe you may be having CFP certifications or NISM certification, required NISM certifications, and all those things. So you should have the required qualifications, and you should have the certification also. So now there is no experience requirement. Earlier it used to be 5 years. For that's for anybody who wants to become an RIA. There used to be 5 years experience requirement. Now it is not there. So you need not have the experience certificate for this. And when it comes to net worth certificate, again, that also been removed. Now it's a simple system, deposit based. So you will be starting with 1 lakh. Then you should give the business plan. So what is your idea, how you want to know your business, a typical business proposal, business plan. And if you don't know how to give about it, don't worry, we will help you out with all the, there are required, as I already mentioned, we are here to support you, to help you, guide you and all the stuff. Okay, then you should mention the infrastructure detail and relevant declaration forms you need to submit, and ITR of Form 16 for last 3 years, and CIBIL score. Yes, CIBIL score is very, very important. So all those things, these are the checklist, and this holds good for both individual and non-individual license holder or applicant. If you are non-individuals, there are a couple of more requirement in your checklist. That's your profiles of principal officer, and your certificate of incorporation or registration, and your the constitution document or the deed. All those things also required, right? So individual, there is no, it's only your PAN. Next. Yeah. So what are the resources I've been mentioning about it, and if you have any doubt, BSE also has the master circular, and we have given the circular link, And there are some standard operating procedures and FAQ also given from the BSc side. And even BSc also just come out with the membership checklist. And SEBI Master Circular is also there if you want more, if you want to know, if you have any minor information you want to have, anything and everything, till the minute detail, you can check through the Master Circular. And not to forget that we from RIA are behind you to handhold you, to take you through the process. Anything and everything, you need not worry about it. We are here to support you. RIA for the community of the RIA community for the general good. We are here, and the address is also mentioned. Colleen is here. Her email ID office@aria.org.in is there, and her mobile number also been mentioned. And there are so many dedicated the voluntary system, the teams are also available. So once you drop in a mail to the office@aria.org.in with any of the specific queries, or just give a call to Colleen, and she will be, she will assign a person to talk to you and help you out. So don't worry about it. We are here, and we wish you all the very best, bright future ahead. And Colleen, next. So actually, these are some of the frequently asked questions we have been getting through from so many RA clinics, or whenever we are discussing with any other people, and we are keep getting these are some of the most frequently asked questions we collated for it. And don't worry if any of your questions is not mentioned here. And we are going to, you already know so many questions, almost about 80 plus questions been already been in the Q&A box, and so many questions are repetitive in nature. And any questions, and the expert Sanjay will take you through. Sanjay, welcome Sanjay for this session. So typically, could you tell me how long it takes to get an RA license?
So hello everyone. So to answer that question, I'll give you a small perspective that, earlier SEBI used to directly handle the applications for RIAs. So after so many years, recently, SEBI has appointed an administrative and supervision body, which is currently BAC Limited. So BAC Limited is taking up the applications directly, so that the registration and coordination process becomes faster. So to answer your question, it generally takes nowadays between 2 to 3 months. In fact, some people have already got registrations within 2 months itself. So it is very speeded up process nowadays, thanks to BAC Limited's intervention, and also SEBI's relaxed regulatory environment.
Okay. Okay. So is there any way where I can track it, the process, the progress of my application?
Yeah, definitely. So once you apply at BAC Limited has a processing status updated as to whether your application is under process, or it has been submitted to SEBI in turn. Because the stages are like this. First, you have a login created at the BAC website, which is specially meant for RIA registration and also RIA registration. The same body is taking care of both the registrations. So once you create the login and once you upload your basic application along with documents, BAC takes at least 15 days to come back to you with the defects in your application and any other requirements which it may need, or clarifications which it may need. So once you submit that, again, it gets satisfied itself, and then it further gives a final upload to the SEBI. SEBI quickly goes through it and comes back. So that is the kind of process it is going on.
And Sanjay, actually, there are a lot of questions, even chat box and Q&A, and I have completed this degree at that degree. Is that okay? And or I have done my CFP, or there are so many questions like that. And can you just throw a light on that?
So coming to that requirement, so that is called as a qualification requirement, experience requirement, and certification requirement. So that is a basic eligibility criteria to apply for the RIA registration. So when it comes to qualification, as even Tejas was telling, in his presentation that earlier there was a compulsory requirement of professional qualification or a postgraduate degree compulsory. But now, since January 2025, they have relaxed it and said that it can be a graduate degree also, which is eligible for qualification. But the catch here is that graduate degree or that postgraduate degree or that professional qualification should be in certain specified fields only. Those are finance, accountancy, business management, commerce, economics, capital market, banking, insurance, actuarial science, or other financial services. Other than this, if you have any engineering or science related graduation, that is not considered as eligible. And CFP is also not considered as an eligible qualification. Apart from this, there is an option of you having you doing a NISM postgraduate degree, which is for a 15-month program. It can be done now also, and that becomes a qualification eligibility criteria. Third option is a CFA charter. So out of these three options, any option is eligible for a qualification.
So shall I take it and see? I have done my in graduation. I have done some maybe some science or something like that, or engineering I have done. So can I do that 15-month course or any PG degree which is relevant in something in the financial field or what are the you are listed on some of the streams.
Yeah.
So if I do that either the certification or post graduation in that field, will I be now eligible, or if I've done something like that, is that okay?
Yeah, if you do that postgraduate program or NISM PG program, that should become eligible.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So that eligibility criteria has been removed now.
Eligibility criteria?
No, the experience certificate. Sorry, experience requirement.
Criteria is totally removed.
Yes,
Earlier
yes.
it was 5 years minimum experience required,
Hmm.
and many people are waiting for that experience to be completed. Suddenly, when they removed the experience criteria, there
Hmm.
are so many applications started for RIA purposes.
And the second most important or the primary concern of the existing MFD is that will I be losing my trial income if I just move to the individual license to test the water or become a I want to continue the practice, or if I'm an individual MFD and once I become an RA, will I lose what of the trial income I've been getting?
So what happens is once you become an RIA, definitely that to individual RIA, you are definitely expected to surrender the ARN. So
Okay.
once you surrender the ARN, whether the trail income continues or not, that is the AMFI related criteria, which I mean the MFD should be able to judge.
So if ARN is not there, no trial. Is that
Exactly. Exactly.
okay? I think there is some talk is going on, maybe that we may not give it here.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think Renu Maheshwari was, indicating some advocacy initiatives taken by ARIA to ensure that the MFD trail income also continues.
Yeah, so Sanjay Abu, just to give you some perspective, so we had an inquiry
Yes.
the other day from an existing MFD who wanted to pursue RIA, existing MFD. So what he did is he put in his application, and SEBI, again, like you rightly said, had rejected the application saying that you cannot earn trail. You need to let go of these assets. So what he did is, I think he transferred it to a family member, wife or somebody like that, and now he's only doing his RIA practice, and the wife or the relative, whoever that is now focusing on the regulated. So that's an option,
That's
you know.
and that's a
So
good option actually.
so for all of you who are pursuing and who are feel like there's a roadblock, you're not able to move ahead, this is an option that you can pursue until we get further clarity if SEBI relaxes it.
Okay. Okay. Good.
And there were certain questions which I saw, which was asking whether if an individual becomes an RIA, whether her wife or his husband can be an MFD. That is very much possible, very much allowed. The only caution is that the same client at the same time should not be both the clients of both RIA and MFD person.
So the PAN number can't be in both the places. Is
Exactly.
plus that like
Either that either that PAN number, that person should be an RIA client or an MFD client.
MFD client. Yes. Okay. Okay. So I am no, so many people are complaining, RIA seems to be like no, it's nothing but kind of more complaints. And is that so bad or so difficult, or is it something only RIAs are going through these things?
Actually, RIA is not much of such compliances as it is thought of. In fact, it is only a prime profession in this intermediaries market. So in fact, I interact with so many other professionals like RAs and RIAs and also PMS people. So they somehow feel that the RIAs are the elite professionals. I mean, they are because there is another reason. It is a personalized investment advice which RIAs provide, whereas RIA is like a open market. Anyone and everyone is coming to there, and their bargaining power for fees is also very less. Whereas RIA is very well placed to demand a good fee for their expertise, and since they are giving a personalized advice, it is a very long duration of client retention which is there, which doesn't happen in other professional industry.
And Tejas, and one question for you.
Yeah.
And many people say that in India, I think nobody pays fees for anything except to doctors or some advocates. Do you think, are you people really getting fees from the clients?
Well, I would say it's, I mean, it's not that straightforward, right? Let's be honest, and, let's also acknowledge the fact that, yes, we are a price sensitive country. There's no doubt about it. But the kind of population that we have, I think there is a space for everybody. And if you ask fellow established practitioners, so I was an individual until 2024. I transitioned to non-individual, just over a year back. And the reason why I transitioned is one is I've realized that not all clients are fee paying, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? Because people don't get it in terms of whether they should pay a fee, is it worth it, and all that. But the idea of a non-individual format is have both. And do clients pay fees? To answer your question, yes, they do. And it lies in, I know this is a very vague answer, but it depends on your value proposition. Now, value proposition, like we discussed earlier, could be the business model, it could be returns, it could be financial planning, it could be life planning, whatever it is. But you need to identify your value proposition, and clients will pay money. As long as you're within the legal framework, I see no reason why they should pay you, whether it's a financial plan, whether it is portfolio management. Um, and also, I think the other thing, what I would think is, I mean, it was difficult for me initially as well. But, as you start to service, uh, five, let's say you convert five clients first, then you convert another five. And then once you reach, let's say 15, 20, these are for aspiring RIs I'm talking about now. Once you hit 15, 20, then there's a certain momentum, there's a certain self-confidence. There's you kind of get the hang of it and know what to talk and stuff. So,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, sorry, I may have
So there's a
diverted,
business
but
for everyone. There's a
there is
business
a
for
business for everyone.
everyone. And it
Absolutely.
works. It works.
And it works. It's not easy, but like Sanjay said, now compliance also, right? Eighth question on the screen, compliance is very difficult for RIAs. And like Sanjay rightly said, if you speak to other folks in the PMS line, AIF and all, I mean, they've got some crazy compliance. You can't move out of one room, you can't do this, you can't do that. I mean, I'm trying to be funny here, but but there is a lot of regulations there as well. So compared to that, RIAs have, it's difficult, but it's not that bad.
Yeah. Sanjay, now to you. Actually, Tejas was mentioning about the client limit for individuals. And now he was saying in a slide, earlier it used to be 150 clients. Now it is 300 clients, right? For individuals. Non-individual, there is low limit. I understand. And what is the 300 clients on total, or how is it? How it is treated?
So at any point of time, you should not, you should not have more than 300 live agreements at any point of time.
Okay. Live agreement
It
means,
can be, yeah, it can be 250, then 70 clients added, and then 20 clients left out. So it can be something like at any point of time 300 should not be crossed. If it gets crossed, what happens is SEBI gives you some time limit, to get converted into non-individual RIA license.
Okay, so once if it 300, I need to, no, obviously I need to move to the non-individual license.
Non-individual category, yes.
Okay, category, yes, yes, okay, okay, okay. So 300 live agreements.
Agreements.
So what is that agreement means? And you mean client or what?
Agreement means yes, the clients basically.
Okay. So people, no, they may not aware of what is that agreement we are talking about.
RIA regulations mandate that every client should be under a executed agreement.
Okay. So RIA can onboard clients only after executing a agreement.
Agreement.
Okay,
Correct.
the agreement may be valid for 1 year or 6 months, could be anything, or 2 years. So
Yeah.
any given point in time, the number of agreements shouldn't exceed 300 for
Correct.
individual RIA license holder. If it exceeds 300 or touches 300, they need to apply for the non-individual category. Obviously, it's mandated. Okay, sure.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And the other question is that, and I have there are so many aspiring RIAs and MFDs also thinking of just coming into the bandwagon. Good to them. They have the qualification, they have the certification and everything. They have the money, everything. So now they got the RIA license. And is there any further registration or any other formality after getting the RIA license?
So after getting RIA license, there are a couple of registrations. Like one registration you will have to do with the KRA website. So KRA is the KYC registration authorities. Either it is a CVL KRA or NDML KRA. You have to register with them so that you can do the KYC formalities of your customers. Another registration is to be done with CKYC. Again for KYC purposes only. And third registration is related to FIU IND. FIU stands for Financial Intelligence Unit. IND stands for India. So under the PMLA regulations, SEBI intermediary should be registered with FIU IND also. It is only a registration formality. The reason why they insist on that registration is if you come across any client who has a very dubious background or any terrorist background or any terrorist funding is being received by that client, you will be able to report to the FIU department. So to be able to report, you should have a registration live. So FIU in registration is there. So I told you about three small registrations, and fourth one is related to scores. So scores, everyone knows in this field that if the intermediary is not able to resolve any complaint, sometimes the customers go directly to scores and lodge a complaint. Now, even if at scores it is not getting resolved, then there is a process called as online dispute resolution. For that, separate portal has been launched recently. It is called a Smart ODR portal. So you will have to register with Smart ODR portal also, just as a facilitator of for in future if any dispute resolution comes up.
Okay.
These are some 4 or 5 registrations you'll have to do after getting registered.
Okay, thank you. And I am picking a couple of questions from the Q&A. Neha asked, what are the services I can provide as an RIA? Actually, she asked specifically to as an equity advisory. I'm asking it in a broader sense. What are the services an RIA can provide?
So it starts with you can provide financial planning services, and you can provide investment advisory services, which is your core activity in RIA license. When you come to talk about our investment advisory, definitely yes, you can also advise on equities also. Equity advisory. In fact, some of the question was related to commodities, whether you can advise on commodities or not. The answer is yes, you can advise, provided it is good for the client and it is in the best interest and risk profile of the client. If you are going to advise a high risk product for a customer or for a client who is having a low risk profile, then it is defeating the suitability criteria. And RIA profession entirely, it is about the fiduciary responsibility. That means you will have to advise only that product and that service which is good for the client. So you will have to think whether your advice related to commodities or futures and options is good for the client or not.
Okay. So many people are asking that principal officer and what are the qualification required, or they're asking, can same person be a principal officer and compliance officer? These are the questions many people ask repeatedly.
Okay. So in the individual category of individual or proprietorship category of RIA license, there is no concept of principal officer, compliance officer. Let us be very clear. The principal officer, compliance officer concept comes only under the non-individual people, non-individual category. It can be either a partnership firm, it can be an LLP, it can be a private limited company. So only in that category it comes. And the principal officer has to be a separate person who qualifies the qualification requirement and the certification requirement. Compliance officer should be another person other than the principal officer. It cannot be the same person.
Okay. So can RIA be no take charge of both, or any one of it? As I said, that I am the RIA license holder, and so can I be, can I act as a principal officer or a compliance officer?
Yeah, a principal officer has to be an RIA.
Okay. Okay.
He has to be an RIA.
Okay. And one more question, what I'm saying is that there is something called, part-time RIA, and what actually it means. Can I do anything else and do this RIA practice?
Correct, correct. So part-time RIA has been brought in recently, the concept itself, only to enable certain dedicated people in other fields. For example, I am a teacher. So out of my teaching activity, I also have interest in advising the clients. I have a passion. So now I can register as a part-time registered investment advisor. I am a particular, say I am doing some trading business in my some other field, some other products. I can become a part-time RA license holder. But suppose I am already into some activities like I am a PMS distributor, or I am dealing with some other activities related to finance and securities market, then I am not eligible to become part-time RIA. I have to definitely become full-time RIA only, and I have to surrender the earlier engagement.
Okay. Good, 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 good.
There is
So
a question,
this again, yeah, please.
Abu, there is one question which has arisen, uh,
Hmm.
whether I can become a PIA. I think
Hmm.
that arose because they just told that PIA is like a distributor kind of thing. So I have to clarify here that PAIA means an employee inside an existing RIA company. It is in RIA profession there is nothing real, nothing of a distributor concept itself. Either you are a part of that entity which has RIA license, or you are not part of that entity.
So Sanjay, which means calling it a sub broker is technically wrong.
Yes, it is wrong. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So pardon my earlier stance.
So that is the reason some questions have arisen. How to become PIA? You cannot
Mm.
become PIA if you are if you are an employee of an existing RIA entity and you are interacting with the client. You are interfacing with the client either as a sales representative or as an advisory representative. Then you have to qualify as a PIA. And what is the qualification? Qualification is any graduate degree. Even a science graduate degree is also okay. Plus 10A10B.
Okay. Actually, this question comes now why? Because many platform are now advocating like that you become
Okay. They are calling.
yes.
Then
So
it will
they're
become more
technically
like
saying you can do both.
yeah,
That may be the confusion from the practical perspective.
correct, sir. But what happens in distributor and model, I earn the income outside that entity. But when I become PIA, my company earns the income. I am only getting salary.
Correct.
Okay. There's just any questions you can take it.
No, so I've been seeing a repetitive question from Lovish Kanduja. Yeah. So I think he's mentioned that we have a few students. I don't know. Can you see that, Sanjay? There's a question from Mr. Lovish. Uh,
Maybe you can read out Tejas.
yeah, it's a long one. So we have a few students, working professionals from non-finance backgrounds on this call, especially from PG PFP program, whose first batch started at NISM on April 26, 2025. We joined this program understanding that it fulfills the required educational prerequisites However, we are confused since the regulations specifically mention only PFPIA, PGPSM. You might have also received a query from our NISM coordinator. We kindly request your clarification on whether the PGPFP program is eligible.
So
If
I don't
not,
know what is that PG postgraduate program in financial planning.
looks like it. I mean,
It's offered by the NISM.
NISM coordinator. So
Yes.
yes, okay.
So if it is NISM, then only that PG program in investment advisory is the only valid program.
Okay, okay.
Anything else is a extracurricular program.
Right. Okay.
I found it weird.
Does that answer your question? Okay, yes. Okay.
Maybe you can raise the hands now, and if anyone wants to ask question, you can raise the hand, and we will unmute you. You can ask your questions.
But Tejas, he's saying that that program has started in April 26, 2025.
25, huh? So I think we'll have to get back to you on this. Okay, so he says PGPIA correction. I don't know. I'm going to make note of this, but I'm not too sure in terms of.
But currently, as the regulation stands and the qualification and certification requirements defined, there is no such program which is having a what is a allowability.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I unmute couple of people who raise their hands? Sanjay?
Sure. Please.
Yes. Bhattacharya are good to go.
Colin, do you have to unmute them?
Let me just tip to panelist.
Anu?
Hello.
Hello.
Shohesh Shah, you can go ahead now. You can ask your question. I unmuted you. See, is there any problem? I actually unmuted a couple of people, but nobody's asking question.
Hello.
Yeah, no, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I had only this PIA related question, so you already answered that. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Shohesh?
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have just applied for the RIA license. It's still ongoing process with the BSc. Now the principal officer point arise where principal officer cannot be on the board of any other company or cannot take any other activity like RIA. So is that any regulation? Because previously there was no such kind of regulation. Is that something recently changed? That's my question.
Okay. So as a practice, the SEBI is giving registration. See, first of all, you have to understand that principal officer is a dedicated role.
Yes.
So having said that, SEBI always insists that you are either a principal officer of an RIA entity which has applied for license, or you are not part of the and you are not part of any other entity in a dedicated role. Now, when you say you
Okay.
are in other companies also, definitely these people may insist that you have to give up your directorship.
Okay.
Okay, so one attempt, what you can do is you can say that, and you can also ensure that you become a non-executive director in your existing company. So once you become a
Okay.
non-executive director instead of being an executive director, maybe SEBI takes a lenient view, because non-executive director means you are not involved in day-to-day operations.
Okay. But I have requested that also, but they said you should not take any post outside. So that's what their reply was.
They are insisting, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So any practicing, so if I want to appoint some the CA or CS as a principal officer, though if they are practicing, they cannot be a principal officer in my firm, right? If
No.
that's true.
Yeah, they cannot be.
Okay. Okay.
But they can become only compliance officer at the best.
Okay.
And compliance officer
Okay.
also needs a qualification of either 10A, 10B, 10C, or 3A.
I think it's a reverse case. For in our case, compliance officer don't require a 10A, 10B. Only the principal officer require a 10A, 10B.
Correct.
That's what
Correct.
they have mentioned in my
That is correct.
application.
No, I'm saying if you're appointing an outside professional as a compliance officer, then the
Okay.
outside professional's qualification should be 10A, 10B, 10C, or 3A.
Okay. So any employee of my firm can become a compliance officer.
Yes, yes, he can become.
And one
Thank you.
interesting question from
Yeah.
Sanjeev. Actually, he cleared a 10A and 10B, but what you are saying, he not applied for IA, but that time it was not, the part-time IA was not there. And what are the exam he has written, 10A, 10B, he cleared already, I don't know when, but he's saying he completed in Feb 2024. That means that that should be valid till 2027, right?
Correct, 3 years is there.
Yes, but I don't know, but he said it's expired in February 2024. Should I have to reapply because the continuity was missing now? So now he is seeing the opportunity with the part-time RIA. Should I have to rewrite or is there any way where I can bridge it?
So since already his 10A, 10B is active,
No, he's saying it's expired in Feb 24.
oh, expired, he has to write again. He has
Okay,
to.
okay, okay. So that continuity should be there any given point in time. And
So,
if I have not renewed my license or my 10A, 10B expired, I have not done my 10C, can I practice? Or
so
it
it
should
is,
be.
so it is like this. At the time of applying for registration, I should have 10A, 10B. After that, 10C.
So that continuity should be there.
Correct. At the time of registration, applying for registration, if I don't have 10A, 10B, I'm not eligible at all.
Okay, okay.
Just a quick, so while you're posting questions, please make sure that you post the questions in the Q&A box. There's a lot of questions getting diverted to the chat box, and of course, we will try and attend to each and every one of you.
And Vinod Kumar, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question. Mr. Vinod. So Vishal Garg, I unmuted you. Yuvaraja, Vijay. So you can one by one, you can ask your question. Unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Okay, so if they do unmute, in the meantime, Sanjay, another question. We are currently a corporate MFD plus RA, and subsequently, this is by Nimish, and subsequently will be RIA as well. Need to understand for existing MFD clients, can we charge them fees for stock portfolio management and advisory services?
Stock portfolio management and advisory only after becoming RIA.
Only after becoming RIA, and they can continue to earn trail on the legacy assets.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Narendra Kumar, if one surrenders ARN, how can he get trail commissions?
That is what they just gave a solution. No?
Yeah, you'll have to transfer it to one of your family members or somebody who you deem fit. You'll have to transfer it, and then you will get your legacy income.
Okay, again, as part of this, the principal officer, the Hiral Butta asked question. My employer's education and certification as per the requirement for the principal officer, but SEBI regulation says it should be a manager, director, or partner. Can you clarify?
Yeah, the principal officer has to be a senior position. Otherwise, in a private limited company or LLP, there can be a head of the division who can be appointed as a principal officer.
So the employee can be now elevated, given us some, okay, the
Yeah.
posting can be changed.
Posting can be changed in LLP only and only in private limited.
Okay.
I mean, earlier this was a facility in partnership also, but then partnership they removed. They said no.
Okay. Okay. So Rahul Shah is asking raised.
Anybody wants to raise I guess the unmute mute is not working now.
No, it's coming, and we can do it. Rahul Shah wants to speak now. Rahul Shah, you are unmute. You can unmute yourself and ask question. Rahul?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Sanjay and Tejas, for my earlier queries in Q&A. But I'm really going through one dilemma as of now, as I've shared on Q&A as well, that I was earlier in between 17 to 22, my license got expired at that time. I have not opted for renewal. Then I opted for, I have just cleared 10 at NB, opted for the new license in October 24. And BSc guide took around 3 months to realize that I am already had an expired license. So after 3 months, they found that at the time of payment of the fees, after doing all this thing. And then they asked me to do surrender formality first.
Okay.
Surrender I initiated since February, sir. Still it is not happened, despite of doing all formalities. Somewhere how it is got stuck with the SEBI, I don't know. All documentation, the paper declaration, all formalities been done. So finally they're saying it is under purview of SEBI, and we are awaiting answer from SEBI. So meanwhile, what I thought, meanwhile I can go for RA and it is in similar criteria. So should I opt for RA or should wait for the surrender to get complete and opt for IA only?
No, so RIA is a totally different kind of service which is involved. So in RIA, for example, it is a personalized investment advice which you provide. In RIA, it is more of a product-oriented recommendations which you provide. So
Okay.
irrespective of the client, you will be providing the same recommendation to any client who comes to you. So that is an RA service where you give buy target, sell target, recommendations, trading calls.
Okay.
So is that your service?
Yeah, right now I'm doing that only, but I have a broader perspective to move to financial planning as well. That's why I've given IA exam,
So you
investment
have
advice.
applied in a individual category or non-individual category now?
Individual. Individual.
Okay, because if you okay, you can apply for RA also. In the individual case also it is allowed now. Individual can become RA and RA both. So you
Both.
can opt for that RA licensing also.
Okay, so meanwhile I get this license, I can go for the exam is also I can able to clear, and the format is very less compared to IA for RA, right?
Nowadays it is almost same because all the circulars which comes from
Same.
SEBI is IARA.
IA, okay.
Like they are twin brothers now.
Okay, and another questions I have researched more on this body corporate license, non-individual usage, but it is SEBI person I asked about my query. Those guy are our advisor. We are paying fees to them, BSc official. They don't know criteria and all that. What the shit they are doing? They are asking you can ask your CA and advisor and fill all this like that. That kind of answer they are giving. So my question was that the principal officer. Okay. So if I am owning a partnership, I am a partner. Okay. And I have one guy as a partner, but we don't want to qualify for the qualification criteria. So we can hire someone from outside to meet the principal officer requirement, and then we can opt for the body corporate license.
If you go for LLP and private limited only, that option is possible.
Yeah, I'm talking about non-individual only. For LLP or private limited, yes.
In LLP and private limited, that is possible, but that person should be your internal employee.
Yeah, if we can hire him as our employee and we pay him salary and he stuck with us.
Yeah. If he
Yeah,
has a qualification requirement and the
yeah.
10B requirement, he can become the principal officer and you can apply for the entity as a whole RIA license.
Okay. Okay. So my partnership can opt for RI license as a non-individual, and I can hire that person as a principal officer for a
No,
criteria.
no, sir. When you say partnership firm, this concept is not applicable. Only in limited liability partnership firm, that
Yeah,
concept.
yeah. Partnership, I mean LLP.
LLP,
LLP. Yeah.
okay. Then it is okay.
Right. And last question, I have one more question I had regarding this. So this all procedure when we file the documentations and all that, after how much months we get license for IA?
So it can be little faster also, but definitely You definitely expect 2 months time.
2 to 3 months.
2 months
Quickest.
is minimum.
And for RA, it is fast, quicker, or that is also time
No,
consuming.
RA also same only because I have applied for both. I have seen the same experience.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sanjay sir. Due to
And
you, I'm able to clear all the doubts because I was literally struggling with the BSc guys and SEBI to opt for the license despite making all criteria, meeting all criteria. I'm literally struggling to have license.
So Rahul, just to add, so for those of you who are struggling with getting through SEBI, BSc application process, I think that's why we have experts like Sanjay sitting there, right? So Sanjay, and we have so many subject matter experts in RIA, RA. They'll be able to help us. You can reach out to them. Their services include that, but no harm in trying that. If you're feeling it's taking a lot of time, please reach out to them, reach out to ARIA. We will display our email ID, phone number, who you can get in touch with. But collectively, I think we are here to kind of, help you out in these kind of roadblocks.
Okay, Abu share Colin Mascarenes. We need to contact this person.
Yes, we'll share it towards the end. I think towards the end, we'll leave that slide on. Yeah.
now in the chat box also, I just reshared once again.
Okay.
Now also I shared, and you can contact, and there are dedicated people to help you, and there are so many volunteers. Don't feel bad, and no, we are here to help you to the community.
Sir,
Arya is
we
here.
need to,
So
how much any registration fee we need to pay?
I think that you should probably take it offline on a one-on-one basis. Oh, you're saying with ARIA or with a
so to
Arya.
get the help to become RIA for what are the help they are getting from the.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think that you can reach out to Colin. Colin will kind
Colin.
of brief
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Vinay, you are good to go now. Unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, very much.
Hi. So I just wanted to ask you guys if you could please explain or like go through the process of onboarding a client, and then, I've read about certain records to be maintained, the client records and everything, and then how are the calls generally scheduled? So when you say like for an entire year, do you keep doing calls every quarterly, or is it a one call? And when it comes to services, do you offer services as in like a one-time service, or is it also like a year-round service that you offer?
Yeah, I think Tejas and Abu can throw good light.
Yeah. So
This has to be structured.
yeah. So from a practicing perspective, I think there are folks who do one-time financial plans for a fee. There are practitioners who do round the clock. I mean, sorry, round the year kind of a service. So it depends on what the client is for. So just to bring in some context, if there's somebody like a DIY kind of a client, a do-it-yourself client, maybe he or she is just looking for a financial plan and then they go execute it on their own. Whereas you have another set of clients who don't have the time and expertise to do this on their own, and they expect an advisor to run the show, from A to Z, and that could be, to fund management, to financial planning, estate planning, whatever it is. So I think it's a broad-based question. I don't know if that answers. You can, follow up with a question if you're.
Right. So, when you speak of year-round planning, or like when the RIA takes control, does that mean you actually take control of his account and like do the management and everything, or?
So we do take control, yes. We are advising, we are giving them advice, but everything needs to be approved at the client's end. So if you are a prospect and I sign you up, then you need to be approving every transaction. I need to get reply from you from mail. So there's never a point where there's a POA, where I handle your account. No, that can't be done.
Okay. So there's two ways. That is, one is the one-time thing and the year-round process. And in the year-round process, you're telling me you can either take control, or the other thing is you give them advice like every quarter, or like rebalancing the portfolio or something like that.
Correct. So it could be rebalancing the portfolio. It could be one of the recommendations is to take a term insurance, and now I'm following up with you to execute it. It could be health insurance. It could be estate plan. It could be portfolio related stuff. I want to do some switches now from debt to equity. Markets have fallen. So it could be anything under the sun in terms of as far as a financial plan is concerned. Now, if it's only equity advisory or this thing, then, so it depends on the engagement, this thing. And then, like I said, there are the fixed fee planners where I'll do a plan for you, and then you go execute on your own. So it's limited to a 3 month, 4 month kind of an engagement.
And the point here is one point, and this license required only to manage or advise on SEBI controlled supervisory, the regulated products. So any insurance related is not coming under. If you want to do it, and you need not require any license, the SEBI license.
Understood. And one final question that I had, slightly different from this, as a working corporate employee in an MNC or a startup, can you still do register as an individual RIA?
Sanjay, you want to take that?
Working corporate employee.
Right.
In which field? In which field?
Can be IT or like finance, or mostly let's assume IT.
You can apply for part-time license.
Okay, part-time is it? I see.
And Sanjay, part-time license, is there any restrictions? We are not touched upon that.
So restrictions or conditions?
Conditions.
I
Or
mean,
number of LOE, whatever.
Number of clients, active clients should be less than 75.
Okay.
And every invoice or every other engagement which you are having, there you have to clearly give a disclaimer saying you are a part-time investment advisor, and those services will not come under the purview of SEBI. Such kind of disclaimers you have to give.
Okay.
So in your case, in your special case, you since you are already an employee, you'll have to inform your employer that you are part-time investment. You are going to be a part-time investment advisor. So that confirmation will have to take first.
Okay. And one final thing is, when terms of record keeping, let's say you onboarded a client, and how do you actually keep the records for a review of SEBI here?
So once you onboard a client, the most important document becomes the client agreement, which is called as investment advisory agreement. So that you have to maintain. You should have done the risk profiling of that client. So risk profile document is very important.
Okay.
And then your KYC documents of that client.
Right.
So
And you
these are
proof of all the advisory that you've given? And you
Sorry?
keep a record of that? Do you have to also keep a record of all the single advices and all single phone calls that you have with the client?
Yeah, you'll have to maintain those records.
If it is related to advisory, yes, it is. And you can keep it like offline or online. And you are expected to keep it minimum of 5 years.
5 years, correct.
Okay. And the risk profiling documents and other documents that you said, are they standardized documents by SEBI, or is it individually?
It is not standardized by SEBI, but in the industry, you will find some standardized platforms also offering such services.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
So,
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Bakshi, you are good to go. Unmute yourself and ask a question.
I have unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think Tejas, my question is to you. So I'm presently an MFT and I am practicing. I went for a convention in which there were a lot of RIAs. So the what they told me is that we only onboard in the RIA practice. So they were all corporate RIAs. So they said as far as the RIA services are concerned, it's only a high ticket which we onboard, else we take it in the distribution angle. So now I'm slightly getting confused in this whole thing. Once on one side we are saying fiduciary doing well, on the other side we are saying that we are not taking, and a lot of people are saying this. So I'm slightly confused in my mindset now. What's to be done or not to be done? I'm not very clear about it.
So the question here is with regard to the minimum ticket size in terms of entry, or
So my point is that like once like we say that we are fiduciary and we are doing a lot of good to the society. Now, but on the other side, we are saying like we don't onboard below 2 CR in the RIA services. Now, both these things at the conceptual level are contradicting each other. Both the statements are contradictory actually, if you see in principle at least. And this was echoed by a lot of professionals. It was not one or two. It may be excess of 20 actually.
No, so that's the thing. We are a small community, but everybody runs it their own way, and it's quite diversified. I think what you need to figure out, I think, as a at least I'm telling you from my limited experience,
Yes, sure.
is that we need to accept the fact that while we talk about being fiduciary, doing fee-based, all that is good. We're doing in the best interest of the client. But I think, like it or not, there are some clients who still haven't warmed up to the idea that I need to pay a fee. Now, whether it is 1 crore, whether it is 2 crores, 3 crores. So I think the idea here is to at least onboard them on the distribution format if it doesn't work in an advisory
Correct.
format,
Correct.
and then funnel them into advisory. You're still not doing I mean, just because you're earning commissions, that doesn't mean you're a bad person, right? I mean,
Correct.
I
Correct.
could be
Correct.
earning income via commissions, via this thing, but the idea is as long as you are doing in the best interest of the client, you are servicing what the client requires, listening to him or her. I think that's all that matters. I mean, the
Yes.
compensation is only one is direct, the other is indirect.
Yes.
And you could always transition them to an advisory client once they cross 1 crore, 2 crore. So everybody has their criteria, right? I've met advisors who don't admit anybody until they have, let's say, a 2 crore or a 3 crore portfolio in advisory.
Correct, sir.
And my personal experiences, I've had clients who have started from zero in advisory. And, over a period of, let's say, 8 years, 9 years, they've grown into multi-crore portfolios. So it works. But I think the key here is you have to talk with the client, just cut the noise from outside, talk with the client, be upfront in terms of these are the models available in the market. Yeah. This is where I think you fit as a client, and then, have an open discussion, and that's about it.
Okay. Thank you.
And to add to it, and the case whomore you discussed, and they may be non-individual license holder. But individual license holder, I know that since I myself from the maybe from the first year. So I can say that there's so many people, as Tejas also mentioned, we make millionaires or billionaires. We start, we don't look at the portfolio size, particularly financial planners. It all depends on the business model. And one more thing also you need to keep in mind, individual license holder had the limit of 150 clients,
Correct.
the threshold limit. And now it has been increased to 300. That
300.
was one of the biggest bottleneck. Maybe some people want to have, and maybe I want to invest 20,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees in SIP or simple life insurance or term insurance or health insurance, whatever. The basic plan, right?
Correct.
I can easily give out maybe 10,000, 15,000. But the model, there are some restrictions for individual license holder with respect to the number of clients with which I can handle. Okay, those are some of the other side also you need to think of.
No, I think it's all, everyone is different. I mean, that's the
Yes,
takeaway, I guess.
yes,
Everyone
yes,
is
yes.
like different. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. And
Do we
yes,
see
Deshmukh, you can go ahead now.
do we see any
Yeah,
Deshpande, yeah, sorry, Deshpande,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
unmute yourself and ask.
yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Tejas, Abu, and Sanjay, thank you for taking time and conducting this, and the entire team ARIA for an enriching and enlightening session. I have question which has got two parts. One, and both of them are pertaining to succession. So, what happens when an individual, in case of an individual RI's demise? What happens to his client base and his practice? And similarly, when there is a corporate entity wherein the RIA himself is principal officer, and in case of his demise, how does the succession take place?
So in the individual case, the if the individual is no more, then of course the practice comes to an end.
Okay.
And in the entity case, legal entity case, if the principal officer is no more, or if he leaves, then at least you have some breathing time to onboard some other principal officer who has equivalent qualification and
Okay.
eligibility. So that continuity is guaranteed in the non-individual cases, non-individual category of license.
Thanks. Thanks. That addresses my concern.
So I'm just going to pick a question from the Ankit. I'm going to read out the question, Sanjay. Namaste, I'm a practicing chartered accountant, also a CFA chart holder. I'm planning to register as a part-time SEBI registered investment advisor. I have a few practical compliance related questions. So question one, if I have client A under a fixed fee RIA advisory model, and client B from whom I receive distribution commissions, such as for mutual funds, can I continue with both, provided the segregation is clear and properly disclosed?
So if you are receiving distributor commission, then
Part-time. But he's a part-time SEBI RIA.
so part-time SEBI RIA cannot become you cannot become part-time SEBI RIA if you are a distributor.
Okay. But he's a chartered accountant and also a CFA chart holder. So can he have advisory and distribution clients?
As an individual, no.
No. Okay. Can I charge the same client separately for non-investment services like ITR filing or other CA related professional services apart from advisory fee?
So that is quite possible because many RIAs also do training services, so where they charge training fee separately.
Okay.
It's quite possible.
Lastly, is there any restriction on charging advisory clients for operational support work like execution assistance, portfolio reviews, report generation? No.
So execution and implementation activities, you cannot charge any fees.
So even for operational, like for example, let's say if I want to do a change of bank, and Ankit is my advisor, can he bill me for the operational support separately? No. Okay.
Colin, one question, and so many people are asking, are we going to share the PPTs? If not, can you share
The recordings will be shared.
recordings?
It will be
Okay.
uploaded on the ARIA website, will be visible for everyone.
Okay, it's open for everyone, is it?
Yeah.
Right. There are so many other questions also, Colin, and now what is the way out? Because if it is running, it can keep go on.
So they can write to us at office@ARIA email ID, which was shared on the mailbox, and then our team can revert back to them. That helps.
Okay.
So I think we've kind of hit time. Any last questions? Maybe we have another 2-3 minutes, and then unmute or on the chat box. Is there something which is different from the?
Mani, you can unmute yourself and ask question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Abu, Tejas, and Sanjay. Quite helpful. I'll quickly get to the question. I just posted it there. I work for a very large tech organization. I'm looking to become a part-time RIA. And I understand the guidelines, SEBI guidelines requires you to provide an NOC from the employer. But my organization is a very large organization. They are not going to, for an individual, provide an NOC, but they have a very clear moonlighting policy that says you can do whatever you want to do if it doesn't, conflict with what the company does, which is tech and software. So can I submit that policy as an NOC, or what are the other options?
It is a try.
I'm sorry?
It is a try.
I missed that.
I think it is a trial.
So you just try that and figure out what.
Try
Okay,
that, yeah.
got
Try
it.
that and push, take your stand. That's all.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Sir, I had just a couple of questions. Bhavya here. So, can we practice investment advisory and research analyst together, or is it not approved by SEBI?
No, it is quite possible. After this January 2025 amendments, it is definitely possible to become both RIA and RA both.
So, example, if you are my client, I can give you a family, like all the other investment advisory related services where I can charge the fees, and research analyst, that also I can charge. It's different, right? From IA fees, that cap is there 2.5 or 1.5 like something. So does it come under that cap, or are both the different?
No. Then you will have to maintain client segregation here. Same client, you cannot have both the services.
And yeah, please, Bhavya, go ahead.
Sir, just my question was that individual, I cannot offer a single client both the services.
Yeah,
like that.
Not possible.
Okay, but I can practice that on a different. Okay. Yes. And sir, can you just have a compliance required by SEBI? Like, just can you give a general idea what are regularly we have to get updated? Just basic things to get the understanding when we practice.
So those things are available in the website and ARIA website, and you can access to it. and the compliance calendar and everything. You get the reminders and the handholding, everything. There is a very dynamic WhatsApp group. There are a lot of the weekly meetings, Zoom meetings, and some expert meetings are happening. That once you become an RIA, and there is a lot of support system available.
Okay, I'll surely
Yeah.
check it out. And just very small doubt, is there any minimum or maximum ticket size for a client or as a family, as a overall
No,
minimum ticket or
no.
any kind of things?
His net worth can be even negative. This,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
that's the case with many people. Those are the people, many people come for the financial planning for your information. Now who are in the deep debt trap, and all those people also come. We help so many families, and we are happy about that.
Are you looking at any right now any trends that are happening in the investment where there is a lot of focus on a particular service that is happening? Maybe can you share? There are, since we have lots of options for services, you might be seeing some kind of trends that are happening that people are. If you can share any kind of trends that what clients are wishing us to offer the services regarding that, or are in the need of that kind of particular service. Maybe it could be equity, or maybe it could be portfolio, like that.
Abu, who's taking it? Should I? Or...
Yeah, you take it.
So I don't have an answer to that. I mean, I think, there's like I said earlier, there's a market for everything. But like I said, I do financial planning, so I'm biased on that model. But, there are clients who are looking for wealth management. There are clients who are looking for equity advisory, PMS. So again, it all boils down to who your clientele is, and, what your client is looking out, and, what your value proposition is. So I know that's a vague answer, but there's no trend per se.
Okay. And I have one interesting question in the chat box. Sanjay, it's for you. I am a MFD. In a shortcut, can I become a PIA to our platform? And I distribute and take commission. And because that's not in my name, no? I joined on a platform. I become a PIA. I give the advisory, or because there is no complaints. The complaints is taken care of by the platform. And is that possible? Is the question.
No, no, it will defeat. No, SEBI will penalize afterwards whenever it is catching.
So just to reiterate, like Sanjay said earlier, technically incorrect to say that a sub-broker model and a PIA is the same. It's not the same.
So what if the client are different? As if but the more I'm distributing, I'm not doing it. For the complaint sake, I become a PIA, join as a PIA. Is that possible?
No, it is not possible because the fiduciary responsibility still is there. So even the PIA not only get distributor commission, he should not even get into contrary transactions within that 15 days, 30 days limits.
Okay.
So I think we'll wrap up. I think we're 5-10 minutes beyond schedule. So sorry if we couldn't take all your questions, but please feel free to write to our email ID. I think, Colin, if you can just post that one more time, or maybe leave it on the slide, which will have our email ID. Reach out to us. One of our, yeah, there you go. It's there. Abu's just posted it. Call in with the email, phone number. Please reach out to us if you need any assistance. And like I said, I mean, if you're not able to, if you have roadblocks going through the application and stuff, there are, subject matter experts like Sanjay who, can help you out. You can reach out to him as well. So on that note, I think, I just like to thank ARIA for organizing these regular sessions, raising awareness on RIA as a profession. Of course, this wouldn't be possible without our partners as well. Mainly, I was just told that SBI had also logged in a lot of SBI Mutual Fund had brought in a lot of students as well. I hope this is, paving path for the younger generation also to pursue, not only the younger, middle age, older, whatever, it doesn't matter. So like I said, you could be an existing MFT, could be insurance consultant, aspiring RIA, wherever you are, switch in professions. I hope these continuous sessions give you insights and give you confidence, motivation to kind of pursue it. Special mention to all speakers. Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Abu, for taking the time out and patiently answering questions. Also, Colin, Shraddha, thank you so much for all the admin work and the coordination you do. And yeah, I think to each one of you, lastly, thank you for taking the time out, for this webinar. We really hope that this has provided you a lot of valuable insights. We look forward to hosting more such events in the future. And if there's anything at the cost of repetition, please reach out to that email ID. So yeah, thank you once again. Thank you to everybody. I hope we can end. We're done. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Tejas.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Okay.
ARIA
Thank you so
board.
much.
Thank you, Sujay.